that's his girl. Man, Jerry Buss, man, was a bad boy, man.
No, bro. Demanded a trade. When it became obvious to me that the management wasn't trying to compete for a championship, I felt my only recourse was to embarrass Jerry Buss into doing it.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What can you say now? LeBron fans that go crazy in the comments. Oh, Kobe requested a trade too. But did he leave?
Message.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a lot of talk regarding Kobe Bean Bryant's name with this trade that he requested in 2007. So I was going through, YouTube, and I seen this particular video. It's actually by Old School B-Ball. So shout out to Old School B-Ball because, what he's, doing on this video is kind of giving a real-time analysis of what happened in 2007. Now, I remember the request, and I don't remember following the story to a T like he has all this information from. So we've been getting a lot of that. Kobe requested a trade too when this recent clip of Kobe speaking about how he wouldn't leave LA and how he stayed through the tough years. And many people think that Kobe was really wanting to leave. Now, from what I see, Kobe was putting the pressure on his franchise to make a winning move, and they brought in a one-time All-Star, and he went to 3 straight finals and won back-to-back. So there's more context to most Bron-sexuals' comments of he requested a trade. And also, to say somebody requested a trade and then they didn't leave, why does that matter? If I say I'm going to do something and I don't do something, then it doesn't count. You can't use that against me. I didn't do it. I said something. I made it a public, quote. Of course, yes. But to actually go through with it, that's what you actually judge somebody, what they actually do, not what they say. And Kobe did a lot of things. So let's get straight into this video. If you guys are new to this channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe. Let's do it.
Stephen A. Smith, he wants out of LA. Wait, you're still under contract with them. Are you saying right here on this show that you want to be traded?
Yeah, I would like to be traded, yeah. Yeah, I would like to be traded. It's tough as it is to say that.
Is there anything that the Los Angeles Lakers could do to make you change your mind and decide not that you do not want to be traded?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Think about that. He's putting pressure on the franchise. Just think about it. Who the hell reaches out to Stephen A. Smith nowadays? This is before Stephen A. Smith was kind of had his own, was on First Take, I believe. This is kind of a little bit before the things kind of took that way. I could be wrong. But he reached out to Stephen A. Smith, of all people, a reporter who can break a story, to put pressure on that franchise.
That is May 30th, 2007. A Wednesday morning, Kobe Bryant is on the phone with Stephen A. Smith, not the debate show guy you know now. This is Smith still writing for the Philadelphia Inquirer, doing a radio hit on 115 ESPN in New York, and Kobe just told him on live radio that there's nothing the Lakers can do to keep him. 3-time champion coming off a season where he led the league in scoring, 28 years old, and he wants out. Here's the thing nobody tells you about this story. It is not really about Kobe wanting to lead the Lakers. It is about what happens when the most competitive human being on the planet realizes the people running his franchise have been managing him instead of leveling with him for 3 years straight. And by the end of this, you're gonna find out Kobe himself admitted years later that this whole outburst wasn't really an outburst at all. It was a plan. Let's rewind, not to May 2007, further than that, to July 2004. Shaq is gone, traded to Miami for Lamar Odom, Caron Butler, Ryan Grant, and a first-round pick. Kobe resigns for 7 years and $136 million the day after. And the story everybody told, the story that basically became gospel in LA, is that Kobe wanted Shaq gone.
That is another misconception.
That the two of them couldn't coexist, so ownership picked the 25-year-old over the 32-year-old.
It kind of reminds me of the Jaylen Brown situation, right? You see what happened with the Celtics. They essentially try to make it seem like Jaylen Brown and, Tatum or Jaylen Brown's a cancer to the team and this and that, when really it was financial. It had more to do with ownership in their funds and in the second apron versus any type of chemistry or fit. Now, of course, Shaq and Kobe's relationship is different than Tatum and Brown, but I'm just saying NBA franchises often have a scapegoat to be players when it's really finances, or it's really they're not trying to make a decision and to have two max guys, and they don't want to pay two max players because Shaq and Kobe were max players.
And that was that. Kobe let people believe that for 3 years. 3 years of Kobe ran Shaq out of town takes, and he never said a word publicly. Why stay quiet about something like that? Simple. He didn't need to fight it yet. The Lakers were rebuilding. Fine. He assumed it was a rebuild, a fast one, not this. Instead, 3 straight years without winning a single playoff series, first round exits, 2 years running, Kwame Brown at center, Smush Parker starting at point guard, for a team that is supposedly title hunting with the best player.
Look at that lineup right there. Now ask yourself, Shaq goes to the Miami Heat, Jason Williams, Gary Payton, Udonis Haslem, Antoine Walker, Dwayne Wade, Alonzo Mourning off the bench. I mean, come on. Like he went to a team ready to win while Kobe has 3 straight seasons still trying to find who the hell is going to help him win a championship. And like I said, one all-star appearance, 0 playoff wins, 0 playoff victories at all, 1 postseason appearance, 1 all-star. Not saying Pau Gasol's a bum, but let's just be straight. He's an 18-point player per game. He's an all-star level player. He's not a superstar. That one piece, this one guy who, hey, man, can we just get on the same page and lock in, and you're talented enough to learn the system. That roster changed a little bit, the season after, but not much. Like, be honest with you guys, that's the type of impact Kobe has on his team. And that always gets overlooked because they say he's selfish, but they don't see his leadership and how he can lead teams and how he's done that. And I was there to witness this. I remember when this trade happened. In my mind, I'm not gonna lie, as a Kobe fan, I remember I'm like, yeah, they got Gasol, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't think that. I think the Spurs might still get. I think Kobe might need one more. But Kobe proved me wrong. I didn't think that Paul going to the Lakers was turning the tables to be the favorites in the West. The West was stacked. But the way they played, when they started playing, I was like, oh, okay, now I see it. Because they were already playing good prior to Powell coming, believe it or not. They already were playing really well. I think they were in the top 3 seed before Powell was there. So, yeah.
Live on the roster. In March of 2007, Kobe dropped 65 points in overtime just to beat a bad Portland team, and it barely moves the needle because everybody already knows what this Lakers team actually is. Him and then nothing. May 2007, the Phoenix Suns bounced the Lakers in 5 games, first round, and that is when this whole thing actually starts. May 27th, 2 days after elimination, Kobe talks to the Times, and for the first time, he doesn't play it safe. I am still frustrated. I am waiting for them to make some changes. Not exactly fireworks, but it is the first crack. May 28th, Kobe goes further, publicly says he wants Jerry West, the architect of the Showtime Lakers, back in front office. There is a direct shot at Mitch Kupchak, West's own guy, the sitting GM, Jim Buss, tells the Times in response, Kobe Bryant is a Laker for life. Nobody in that quote sounds worried yet. Then May 29th, a Tuesday, Times runs a piece with one line in it that changes everything. An anonymous Lakers insider tells the paper, as a Lakers insider notes, it was Bryant's insistence on getting away from Shaquille O'Neal that got them in this mess. 3 years of silence, and now somebody inside his own organization goes out of their way to pin the blame back on him.
That highlight right there, I went to that game. Just let y'all know. Sorry.
Print. Kobe's response starts on his own website. Most people only remember the radio interview, but this comes from...
Make a comment if you know Kobe had his own website, kb24.com. That's crazy.
First, he posts the whole story in his own words. A meeting at the Four Seasons in 2004, Jerry Buss telling him directly he wasn't resigning Shaq no matter what Kobe decided about his own free agency. Kobe says he stayed quiet for years because he didn't want to look like he was ducking blame. But now that a Lakers insider is trying to pin it on him anyway, he is done protecting people who won't protect him. And then that same day, in the middle of all this, Jerry Buss gets arrested deep.
Talk about karma. This is, like I said, shout out to this channel. Check them out. They're breaking everything down, timeline perfectly, research, pictures, quotes. I mean, shout out to them. Make sure you're following them and subscribing to their channel.
Why 12:50 in the morning, Carlsbad, a gold Mercedes crossing the double yellow. Although I was driving only a short distance, it was a bad decision and I was wrong to do it. It was a mistake I will not make again. The owner of the team gets pulled over for drunk driving the same day his franchise players publicly accuse him of lying. You could not write a better week than this if you
I'm saying, you really can't, man. The karma just came quicker than ever.
tried. Which brings us back to that Wednesday morning call. Kobe lays out the whole four-season story on live radio, confirms Shaq backed him up. Shaq talent
Look at this. Shaq backed him up. Shaq backed him up.
Smith separately. I believe Kobe Bryant 100%. And when Smith finally asks the question point blank, is there anything the Lakers can do to keep you? Kobe doesn't hedge. I would like to be traded, yeah. And as tough as it is to say that, as tough as it is to come to that conclusion, there's no other alternative. 3 hours later, and this is the part people forget, Kobe is on with Dan Patrick, and it sounds like a completely different guy. I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to be here for the rest of my career.
Look at that.
Phil
Dan Patrick.
Jackson had called him in between the two interviews. Kobe says Jackson talked him down. Except later that same afternoon, a Times reporter asks him again directly, do you still want to be traded? It is just a matter of, I don't want to go no place else. Asked point blank if he still wanted to be traded. Yes. So which is it? Depends what time.
And I mean, make his mind up, but he's putting that pressure. He mixed emotions. You put it out, yeah, I'm staying. Lakers like, cool. Probably aren't gonna do nothing. Nah, I'm leaving. All right, cool. Then we gotta do something. You gotta play some mind games. And a lot of people are gonna sit there and say, oh, you just saying that because you like Kobe. Nah, this was the only time in Kobe's career publicly we could say that he did something in the media talking about his team in order to get them to do something that they should have already been doing, which is getting pieces to win. Say what you want about him, requesting to leave. He did not leave. And at the same time, he didn't have, if you look at his roster, an adequate amount of help to actually get wins in the Western Conference. The toughest conference of all time of NBA history is the Western Conference in the 2000s. You're not going to change my mind as far as contender teams. Some of those teams you took from the West, brought them to the East, they'd probably go to 8 straight finals themselves. They'd probably go to 5 straight finals. You bring that Suns team that never made the finals, that Sacramento's team that never made the finals, some of those what's it called? The Mavs made it, but even the Mavs, you know what I'm saying? Like teams like that. Denver with Chauncey and Melo in 2009. That team in the East is going to the finals. Like, come on.
Oh, there you got him. That is not indecision, by the way.
And his request is he didn't say, give me KG and give me like another Ray Allen or something. He didn't ask for superstars. He didn't request a specific name. He said, do something, give me something, do something.
Hold on to that thought. It matters for how this whole thing actually ends. 4 years later, in December 2011, Kobe is frustrated with the Lakers again. Different issue, different era. He's upset about a coaching hire he found out by reading it online. And in the middle of venting to the New York Post about that, he says something that recontextualized the entire 2007 saga. I've never known what's going on. That is why I went public in May 2007 and demanded a trade. When it became obvious to me that the management wasn't trying to compete for a championship, I felt my only recourse was to embarrass Jerry Buss into doing it.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What can you say now? LeBron fans that go crazy in the comments. Oh, Kobe requested a trade too. But did he leave? Did he leave? Did it go down? Did he go to 4 other teams? Did he get an All NBA superstar who can score 30 points a game and got MVP votes? No.
Read that again. My only recourse was to embarrass him into doing it. That is not a guy who's.
That's the will to win, and I know everyone's going to try to fight back, but that is the will to win. That is what he's willing to do, because he wasn't making any moves. You realize he never did that again. He didn't have to.
Snapped. That is a guy who ran the numbers, decided reasoning with ownership privately wasn't working, and made a calculated decision to blow the thing up publicly, because public pressure is the one lever a player has that a front office doesn't control.
That's his girl. Man, Jerry Buss, man, was a bad boy, man.
No, bro. Wasn't a crack in the armor. It was the plan, and it worked. It was just not the way you think. Because the Lakers didn't trade him in May or June, Buss actually flew out to meet Kobe in Spain that June. Kobe was on vacation watching Barcelona practice, and Kobe reiterated to treat the man face to face. Both sides agreed to keep the conversation private. Bill Plaschke didn't let it stay private. His column that June is one of the more brutal things ever written about a franchise player in that city.
Wow, look at that headline. Betrayed fans, whined and ripped the team and trampled on the Lakers' tradition. Wow, for those still in love with Bryant, it's time to let him go.
Comparing Kobe to Paris Hilton, accusing him of trampling on the loyalty of fans who'd worn his jersey for over a decade. At this moment, Bryant is not Magic Johnson, he is Paris Hilton. Around the same time, 2 strangers in a parking lot caught Kobe on a phone camera venting about the organization and tried to sell the footage. Not a good summer for anybody's public image. Fall camp starts, and it is still not resolved. Buss goes public about the Spain conversation, breaking the private agreement, and Kobe skips practices in response. Phil Jackson tells reporters, obviously he hasn't thrown his heart and soul into performing on the floor. 3 talks with Chicago heat up. Kobe is actually first choice, he'd admit years later, but collapse over the inclusion of Luol Deng. Bulls fans starts chanting Kobe during home losses in.
But you realize the Chicago Bulls' best player at that time was Luol Deng. He was leaving to go play with Ben Gordon, Kirk Heinrich. I'm not sure if Joakim Noah was there, but if he was probably in year 1 or 2. It wasn't like he was Defensive Player of the Year, Joakim Noah, like he did in 2013. This was 2007. He didn't request to go. You know, when he put it out there, when it got to the point, like I said, it wasn't to go play with, you know, the Spurs or go play with LeBron in Cleveland, you know, to go play with Melo in Denver. It wasn't that. It was like, give me to a team with maybe a GM that knows what they're doing or wants to win, or I can see promise within that organization to get me where I want to be on a contending type of environment. And it was more so, like I said, he wanted Jerry West. He didn't request, KG and Tim Duncan. He said, I want Jerry West. I want a mind that's going to build something. That's not super team hopping. You can't compare that.
November, hoping it doesn't happen. What actually changes things isn't a trade demand working. It is a 20-year-old center named Andrew Bynum starting to look like something real in the first half of that season. Then Bynum gets hurt, and instead of standing pat, Mitch Kupchak, the same GM Kobe had basically tried to get replaced with Jerry West 7 months earlier, pulls off the trade that saves the entire era. February 2nd, 2008, Pau Gasol from Memphis for Kwame Brown, a young Javaris Crittenton, and draft picks. Kobe scores 46 that same night. I have to take my hat off to Dr. Buzz and Mitch for going forward with this. 8 months after Pluto, 8 months after my only recourse was to embarrass him. The Lakers make the finals that June. Kobe wins his first MVP over the next 3 seasons, 3 finals appearances, back-to-back titles.
Beautiful.
So here's the actual answer to why Kobe Bryant demanded a trade in 2007. It wasn't one thing, It was 3 years of broken promises, an anonymous leak that tried to pin the Shaq trade on him after he'd stayed quiet about it out of loyalty, and by his own admission, years later, a calculated bet that embarrassing his own owner in public was the only language that front office actually understood. It almost blew up the whole era. Instead, it is the reason the era happened at all. Because the Gasol trade doesn't get made, not on that timeline, maybe not ever, without a guy publicly saying he'd rather go play on Pluto 8 months earlier.
So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, a little bit longer of a video than I actually intended it to be, but, you know, I had to break down things. Can't just let his clip run the whole time. I just wanted to share with you guys that there's a big difference between the two comparisons that's been coming out lately about LeBron going to Philly, LeBron playing with Miami, LeBron playing with LA, and all the teams and all the superstars, all the NBA help he's had, all the players who had MVP votes, versus a guy in Paul who's never been an MVP, never been in MVP votes, who's a great, you know, addition to the team, but he was a good player. I don't think he was a great player. He was a good player. And that's no knock to Pau Gasol. I love Pau Gasol because I think he was a great piece for Kobe to have. He wasn't somebody so talented to the point where if he had a KG, they would be like, oh, he had KG. Because you see what they do with Shaq. They make it seem like Kobe did nothing because Shaq was on the team. And if you look at it, from 2000 to 2004, they went to 4 different finals. In that span, Kobe led them in clutch points, fourth quarter scoring, and go-ahead buckets and all that good stuff. So, you know, you don't lead the Lakers in scoring, clutch scoring, fourth quarter scoring by getting carried. It don't make sense if you do that, but somebody else is carrying you. So I just wanted to debunk a lot of things. I appreciate you guys for watching, staying tuned. If you watch this whole videos a lot, I know usually my videos are like anywhere from 7 to 12 minutes, but a little bit longer, but worth it if you stayed this long. And I appreciate you guys. If you guys want to join this channel, $6.99 a month, and I'm gonna see you on the next one, guys. Peace.